Welcome back to a brand new episode of Mastering Programming. In today's episode, we're going to be learning about operators. Operators are the symbols that make your code work. You use them to do things like check, change, or combine values. There are operators for working with and comparing numbers, operators for checking true and false values, operators which help you simplify conditional assignments, and so many more. In this lesson, you'll learn about some of the operators in the Swift language, including basic math operators for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. By the end of this episode, we're also going to have a small quiz, which will test us and quiz us on all the information that we're going to learn. Let's get started by opening our playgrounds. To do that, let's head back to our desktop, and I'll simply click on Xcode, and then I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to click on New, and then Playground. Let's go ahead and select iOS and then a blank project, and I'll click next. Let's save it somewhere where we can access it easily. So I'll simply save it on my desktop and I'll call it operators. You can save it and call it anything you would like. I'll click on create to create the project, and I'll wait a second until my project actually begins. As you can see, we now have it started. Let's expand this page so we can work easily, and I'm going to also expand my font so you can see it easily. Now, the first thing we're going to work with is the assign a value. How do we assign values? Well, let's go ahead and remove this. And this will be our first operator, which is an equal. So let's comment this and put an equal sign just so that we know which operator we're working with. To use it, we can start by creating a constant, and let's say favorite person. And to use it, I'll simply place it in my code and then say Luke. I use this operator symbol to assign favorite person the value Luke. The equal operator is also used to modify or reassign a value. Let's go ahead and explore how we can do that. Let's create a variable and we'll simply call it shoe size, and we'll give it a size of 8. Just how we used it here to declare or assign shoe size to 8, we can also reassign or put a different value simply by calling that name, that variable, and giving it a different value. So I'll say equals to 9. Let's go ahead and actually start using some basic arithmetic. So let's go ahead and make a comment, and I will simply say basic, and then I will say arithmetic. Here we're going to be learning the addition, we're going to be learning the subtraction, we're going to be learning multiplication, and finally division. Let's go ahead and see how we can do that. We will start by multiplication. I'm going to create a variable called opponent score, and I want opponent score to be 3 times 8. So the multiplication of 3 times 8. To do that, I'll simply put in 3, and then the multiplication symbol, which is a star, and then 8. This means that the value that opponent score will carry will be 3 times 8. It will not be 3, it will not be 8, but it will be the product of 3 times 8. Let's go ahead and try division. I'll create another variable and it will be called my score. And this time I want it to be carrying 100 divided by 4. Division works in the order where it's written. So this is 100 divided by 4. The value of this will be 24. And the value that will be assigned to my score is going to be 25. We can go ahead and print it very easily by simply typing print and then type in opponent score and coming over here and saying print and then saying my score. Let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Perfect. As you can see, we get the values 24 for the multiplication and we get the value 25 for the division. We can also see it here, and remember, we can click on this to view it or click on this to always have it printed or displayed over here, but I don't want that. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and remove our printing statements by simply highlighting them and removing them, and let's explore more options. let's see how we can use our operators to combine some pretty cool things. So I'll create a total score variable, and I'm going to use arithmetic with two variables that are already created. For example, I want to add my score to opponent score. I will do this by calling the my score and then using the addition symbol plus opponent score. And that way, if I run this, you will see that the total value is now 14.9, which is the addition of 25 and 24. We obviously don't have to do this with variables. For example, I can come here and I can say something like total score 2, and I can very easily just say 24 plus 25, and it will still give me the same value because this is referencing the exact same values. As you can see, 49. Let's go ahead and remove this line, and we can also explore some more options with our operators. So an operator can even reference the current variable and update it to a new value. Let's say I want to update my score by 3. So I want to add 3 to 100. What I can do is I can say my score is equal to my score plus 3. So that means that my score, I want to reassign it a new value, and I want to assign it to my score, which is 100 plus 3. If I go ahead and run this, you will see that my score now carries the value 28, which is 25 plus 3. Let's go ahead and remove this. And now we can check how we can do subtraction, and I'll use an example with decimals. Let's say I create a total score, total distance constant, and that will be carrying 3.9. I can then create another variable called distance traveled, and that will be carrying 1.9. We will then have another variable, which is a remaining distance variable. And what I want to know is I want to see the total distance minus distance traveled. And that will give me the remaining distance. To do that, I will simply say total distance, and I'll use the minus subtraction operator, and then I'll call distance traveled. Let's go ahead and run this. And as you can see, it's giving me 2. Let's try use another example where the answer or the result will be carrying a decimal. For example, we can come over here and we can write 1.2 and we can run. And as you can see, now it's carrying 1.7, which is the remaining distance from the total distance minus distance traveled. Let's go ahead and see how we can do even more things. So when you use the division operator on int values, the result will be an int value, rounded down to the nearest whole number, because the int type supports whole numbers. For example, if I have let x is equal to 51, let y is equal to 4, let z is equal to x divided by y, guess what the value will be? If we run this, z will be 12. However, if we actually check in our calculator, 51 divided by 4 is equal to 12.75. To get the 75, all we simply need to do is say x and specify that it will be carrying a double. We can then do the exact same thing for y by coming to y and then specifying that it's a double. And now if I run, so there should be an equal spacing. And now if I run this, you'll realize that the value is now 12.75. That automatically knows that we are going to be carrying a double, and it also gives us an answer containing a double in the same type. Finally, let's see how we can use self-referencing and upgrade or increment a value. In the example above, over here, we used my score is equal to my score plus 3. But there's a much more efficient way of doing that. For example, we can remove this line, And we can simply, let's say I want to add 3, we can simply say plus or equal to 3. This is equivalent to the statement I had before. If I run this right now, you'll see that we still have the answer 28. And that's because when you're using an addition right next to the equal sign, that means that we're pretty much saying my score is equal to my score plus 3. And we can use this with anything else. For example, I can say my score is minus and equal to 3. I can say my score is multiplied equal to 3. I can obviously say my score is divided and equal to 3. Let's go ahead and run this and see what we're getting. Perfect. As you can see, we have 28, we have 25, we have 75, and then we have 25 again. So this works exactly the same as if I wrote it like this. My score is equal to my score divided by 3. It's just this way is much more efficient than this way. Perfect. Now let's understand some more stuff. So mathematical operations always follow a specific order. Multiplication and division have priority over addition and subtraction, and parentheses have priority over all four. Let's see a real life example. I'm going to create 3 variables, x, which is equal to 3. I'm going to create another variable called y, which is equal to 3. I'm going to create z, which is equal to 5. Let's go ahead and see how we can use this using the mathematics laws that we've known. So I'm going to say x plus y plus z. In fact, this should be times. Let's go ahead and run this and see what we should be getting. If I run this right now, you'll see that the total value is 17. That's because y was multiplied by z first to give us 15, and then we added the 2, which gave us 17. After that, let's check how it works with parentheses. So I'm going to open and close a parentheses, and I'm going to put x plus y, and then I will multiply this with z. Let's go ahead and run this and see how it will work. So as you can see, we get the value 25 and not 17. That's because this operation was completed first, just because it's inside the bracket, and then we multiplied it with a z, which is outside of the bracket. Finally, we have numeric type conversions. Let's go ahead and remove this and say create a constant of x equal to 3, y equal to 0.14, and finally we can say let pi equal to x plus y. And now pi will carry the value of pi. This should have been an equals operator. If I run this right now, as you can see, we're getting an error from y, and that is because this is a double while this is an int. To make these two types work together, all we need to do is simply type in double, open and close a bracket around the x, and run this. And now as you can see, it's working and we're getting the value of 3.14. Okay, so it's time for our quiz so we can test whether or not we actually understood everything. At any stage, if you feel confused, feel free to pause the video, go back, watch what we're learning, and then get back and answer the questions. What is the value of my number at the end of the following code? We have x equal to 2, y equal to 4, and z equal to 6. My number is x plus y plus z, so it's 2 plus 4 plus 6. 2 plus 4 is simply 6. Plus 6, that's 12. Let's go ahead and select D and check answer, and as you can see, our answer is correct. What is the value of my number at the end of the following code? 2, 4, and 6. However, this time we're saying x plus y, so 2 plus 4 times 6. Remember that we said multiplication always works first. So first we have 4 times 6, which is equal to 24, plus 2, which is equal to 26. So let's go ahead and select B, check the answer, and as you can see, it is correct. Let's move on. This time we have what is the value of my number at the end of the following code. This time we have x multiplied by y minus z. Again, multiplication always works first. So it's going to be 2 times 4, which is 8, minus 6, which is 2. Let's go ahead and select A and check the answer. As you can see, it is correct. We're at question 4 right now. Now this time it's a little bit tricky. We have x plus y inside of a bracket, which means that it has the highest priority, even higher than the multiplication. We have x plus y, 2 plus 4, which is 6, multiplied by 6, which is 36. So that's C. Check the answer and it is correct. Question 5. This time we're using doubles. We have x equal to 14 and y equal to 2.5. It's asking us what's the multiplication of x multiplied by y. So that is 14 times 2.5. However, if you realized this is an int while this is a double, which will cause us an error. It will not even compile. Let's read our options. It says the code will not compile. X is a double and y is an int. Is x a double? No, it's the opposite, so that's not the answer. The code will not compile. X is an int and y is a double. That's perfect, because x is an int and y is a double. To make this work, we need to wrap x inside of a double. Check the answer, it is correct. Let's move on. Finally, what is the operator called when it has an arithmetic symbol in front of the equal sign? Is it assignment operator? Is it compound assignment operator? Plus equals operator? Reset operator? Of course, it's the compound assignment operator. As you can see, it is correct. Finally, let's check if we got all the questions correctly, and congratulations! You've successfully completed this review. 6 out of 6 answers correct. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I know it can get a little bit tricky with mathematics. I definitely find it hard to understand math in any kind of content or subject, but you've made it. You got 6 out of 6, and you definitely will do well later on. Thank you for watching this episode.